This is Pucks in 7 with Ryan Paton.
One of the perks about doing what I do, whether it's this platform or other platforms, if I have a chance, an opportunity to speak with a former NHL player, then I jump at that, and here's that opportunity. Former goaltender Dwayne Roloson joining me here on Pucks in 7. You and I just talked a couple of seconds ago about kind of you went off the road for this. Not literally, but you went off the road for this, so I appreciate you taking the break and doing this for me.
Yeah, no problem. It's nice to get away from the windshield a little bit, so get here, relax, and grab something to eat and get going on the way.
All right, let's do it. Lots to get into. I'm going to go 77 seconds with you a bit later on, kind of 7 questions, hockey, non-hockey related. Nice way to finish the segment. And I want to talk a lot about, too, not about your game and when you played, but the game today and just different things like that, how much it's evolved. Let's begin, though, with this quote, and I always remember this by Jacques Plante, and I may be paraphrasing a tiny bit, but he said he has the best job in the world when he's a goaltender. Everybody loves you, but when that red light goes on behind you, it's not good. Just take us into the mindset when you played being a goalie, the pressure, because I would assume there's more pressure felt by you, possibly in a goaltender, than there is with the rest of the team.
Yeah, Jock's right. Like how many jobs in the world when you make a mistake,
right,
somebody puts a red light on, the jumbotron focuses in on you, and you got 20,000 people screaming.
Yeah, it's not fun.
So that's your job. Whether you make the mistake or not, that always happens. So it's one of those things you gotta learn to deal with, and it's hard, and that's where you see the maturity in guys that have been 3, 4, 5 years in the game. Right. Versus the first or second year guy in the NHL level. It's a different animal when you get scored on. So it's just mentally, how do you prepare? How do you refocus to prepare for the next shot or the next play? Because you can't really do anything about what's happened in the past. You got to focus on the future, and so just trying to get your mindset right. And that's a tough one to do and learn, and that's, for me with the guys that I work with is trying to get them over that hump of understanding, hey, you're going to get scored on. Yeah. It's just the way the game's played and how it is. And we're not perfect. We're human. So we just got to figure out how we can adapt and refocus again to be the best we can and not let one goal turn into 2, 3, 4, or 5.
How much do you love giving back to the game? The game gave you so much over the 14 years you played, even just other leagues and different times you put on the pads and on the skates. But how much do you enjoy giving back? You just talked about some of the players and different people that you speak to about giving their knowledge or your knowledge to them about goaltending.
Yeah, I love giving back. The last 3 or 4 years I've been volunteering. So at Lake State, I was there for a couple of years, and now I'm at Niagara. So it's fun. It's enjoyable, especially at that level. They're all aspiring to be pros, to make the next step. And, so for me, it's fun to be able to talk to them, whether it's about goaltending, whether it's about scoring, whether it's about defending, or whether it's about life. It's really enjoyable, and I love doing it.
Game has changed. I want to take you back to when you were signed as a free agent by the Calgary Flames in the mid-'90s. Don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about Dominik Hasek and when you were backing him up, certainly in Buffalo. He'll go down in history for me. I watched him play as one of the most unorthodox goaltenders that you'll ever see play, but he was one of the best at playing the game. So no style points whatsoever for Dominik Hasek. Can you take us into a little bit of his mindset? Any stories that you remember specifically about him when you first met him?
Yeah, Dom was tough to get to know.
Okay.
For some whatever reason it is, him and I got along really well.
That's good.
Steve Shields before him, yep. Not so much. Even Marty Biron too. Marty, he was sort of in between Steve and I with relationship with Dom. And now that grew later on in Marty's career and Dom's career. But, for some reason, Dom was really open with me. probably because he didn't have to worry about me. I wasn't trying to take his job, or I wasn't going to get his job.
Right.
But he was awesome. Dom's he's got his master's in history. Like the things that people don't know about him. Like he's a borderline genius, and to a point that in the locker room he didn't know guys' first names. He knew everybody by their nickname, and that was it. And it was pretty funny and comical in the locker room because guys would, hey, what's my first name? And he wouldn't know. So, but that's just to Dom. Dom just like that's how he was. But about him playing the game, yeah, he was very unorthodox. He didn't know what he was doing. Players didn't know what he was doing.
Right.
But there was a method to his madness. He was like 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody else. That's why he was so good. He knew what was going on before the players receiving the puck knew what they were going to do with it. He was just able to read the game so well, and he stayed ahead of the play all the time. Like I remember we're in Dallas one night. Zubov came out from behind the net before the red line got taken out, and Dave Gagne's at the red line getting a breakaway pass. And by the time he received it and turned around and started going towards the net, there's Dom wide out, spread out, and a 2-pad stack with the poke check, and Dave's like going over top of him and not knowing what's going on. But that's how well he read the game, and that's why he was so good. Like he was just off the charts good and reading and his work ethic. Like he worked so hard in practice, after games, during games. He extremely hard worker.
That's what makes the greats too, not just Dominic Hasek, but the greats like a Gretzky and the McDavids and the Lemieux and Bobby Orr. You knew the play before it happened, which is something I don't think you can teach. You're kind of built, given it, and you're born with that. You played with great players. You played behind great players. You faced great players in the 90s and throughout your career. Name me 3 that were probably the maybe the most fun to watch for you. I know that you can't just sit there and watch and be a fan when you're playing, but kind of the ones that you sat back and think, wow, these guys are the real deal.
Well, I just remember one night, unfortunately, Steve Chason was the defender, and he's no longer with us, but I was playing with Calgary at the time, and we're in the old igloo in Pittsburgh, and Mario beat Steve Chason 3 times in the same one-on-one. And he comes back to the bench. He goes, hey, next time Pierre calls me to go on the ice and Mario's out there, tell him I'm hurt, okay? But Mario in his prime was so fun to watch, and just his ability and his knowledge of the game and knowing where guys were. And, Wayne did his thing, Mario did his thing in the same similar eras, but different eras. And Mario was a lot different than Wayne was, but he was always so fun to watch. And me having the front row seat, I'm glad I wasn't playing that night. It was Trevor Kidd. So, he was, to me, was one of the great guys to watch. And then playing against Eiserman and Sakic, those 2 guys, I loved playing against them, but also hated playing against them just because of their abilities and their vision. And, neither one of them had cannons for shots, but they were accurate. They were on the point. And so you had to be aware when they're on the ice and what was going on.
You spent a number of years in the league. You spent time with a few teams. I want to go back to that trade, and it's certainly well documented when you were traded to Edmonton, and you guys went on an incredible run. I got the numbers. You had a .929 save percentage in that first round win over Detroit, and then you stopped 99 of 107 shots going through that second round. .934 save percentage in the Western Conference Final. I know it ended as well, obviously with the injury and what have you, but that run for you, number one, me in from going from one team to another, and then suddenly you find yourselves after some hard work into the playoffs right at the end of it. And then you go on this kind of magical run here.
Yeah, it was surreal, the run. But I think getting traded there at first I knew a lot of guys in the organization,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know them that well.
Right.
When I first got traded there, I knew Prongs from St. Louis's organization, and his wife and family weren't there at the time. So the first couple days, we were on the road, I think, originally. I got traded. I met the team in San Jose, went to Columbus, then went to Minnesota, and then back to Edmonton. And I think I was 0-3 my first 3 games.
Right.
And, I'm sure they're questioning, oh, what do we do here? But get back to Edmonton. It was late at night. Prong's was like, yeah, you're going to come stay with me for the next couple of days and get organized, get settled in here. And from then it was just getting to know the guys. That team in Edmonton, leaving Minnesota, we were really close.
Mm-hmm.
But going to Edmonton, like how close that organization from top to bottom to the team itself was so close, and that gave us, I think, that was the biggest reason why we had success, was just how close we were, and nobody was bigger than anybody else, and everyone did every small thing to win a hockey game, and that's from the presidents down to management down to equipment guys to medical guys and to the players, and I think that was our big success, is how close of a team we were, and that allowed us to have success on the ice.
Must tug at your heart a bit more the last couple of seasons with Edmonton being so close to winning to winning that cup.
Yeah, it's I've been fortunate enough to be able to get out for a few games out there, and I'm lucky. My youngest is an Oilers fan, so he lived in Edmonton. He moved back there and finished high school in Edmonton. So he's an Oilers fan, and he likes to watch the games. So, my other guy is a Dallas fan. So he didn't come out the first year because they were playing Dallas in the playoffs when we went out. But last year he went out with us. So, but it's always fun going back. It's a great place to play, and I really enjoyed my time there. Really enjoyed the fans and the city. It's a great place for people who have never been out there. It's a lot of fun. It's enjoyable, and it gets a bad rep, but it's not warranted. I really enjoyed my time. My family did, and like I said, my youngest went back and went to high school there and played hockey there, and he loved it as well.
94 again, you came in, and going back to the magical run that you guys had with Edmonton, I want to go to quickly that save you made, and I'm sure you remember it, on Jonathan Cheechoo in that double overtime. I was watching it the other day because I knew you were coming on, and I remembered it, remembered when it happened, and I've been watching it off and on for the last however number of years it's gone, but that was unbelievable. Is it fair to say that's probably your best save that you made in your career? At the biggest moment, perhaps?
I think at the biggest moment, yes. At the biggest moment. In overtime, and for us, having lost in San Jose and then coming back, that was sort of like a turning point. I don't want to say I was a turning point. I think as a team, we turned the tables in that game.
Yep.
The momentum was on our side. We just weren't able to score as much, and just making that save, it just sort of allowed our guys some breath of fresh air and just sort of, hey, all right, we're good.
Yep.
Now we just got to go score. And, I was fortunate enough to know who was on the ice and who was coming and what was going to happen, almost a Hasek-ish, sort of make the read and know what's going on before and sort of set yourself up to make the save. And, lucky, but also did everything right to get there and make the save. So, I was able to read what Joe was doing and was able to get a glove on Cheechoo. I think he had scored 50 of that year or something.
He did.
So, it's one of those ones that you look back during a playoff run and say things would have been different, but we were able to win and go on and win the series.
The game is different today. It is more wide open. It's a lot faster. They shoot the pucks a lot harder. It's just incredible where the game is at. Just kind of the changes that you've seen. And I always ask this too about somebody who's been in the league a while ago, and if they were in the league right now. I mean, how do you think you would be able to fare in this league? Because with all the different changes and just how skilled all these players are. Not saying the word skilled when you played, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's the game's so much faster now, and it's, with the rule changes, the clutching and grabbing,
Right.
that's not allowed anymore. It gives these high-end guys the ability to use their skill and their speed. Like, there were guys that could skate like McDavid during our era, but they were never allowed to. There was always somebody on them, somebody holding them back.
Right.
Now these guys have the speed, but their ability to handle the puck and make the moves at the speed that they're going that's what's awing to me in the game today. Their ability to do it at such a high speed. How would I be able to adapt? I think I'd be fine, but at the same time, I'm not haven't had the pads on since 2016. So but just being able to read, you'd have to read a lot more. You'd have to understand what guys are trying to do. In our area, it wasn't set in stone what guys were going to do, but you had a pretty good idea just the way we defended, how teams defended. Now it's pretty hard to defend. It's in an organization like Jacques Lemaire's structure in Minnesota I wouldn't want to say it was easy to be a goalie,
right?
But the quality of shots weren't as high as it was when I got traded to Edmonton that I was seeing. Just the way we defended versus how Edmonton defended. And sort of in the game today, it's like, is it easier to play in Carolina with Rod's defensive style versus Edmonton? Who's to say? It's never easy,
right?
But it's a structure of what your team defense allows, what your goalie can do. So if I'm on a defensive team, I probably could play. But if I'm on a not so defensive team, I don't know if I could play in the era today. It'd be a lot of side to sides, a lot of stuff that I'd be playing behind the play a little bit, and and now with the way teams are drafting and getting guys, I would never have made it NHL. I'm not 6'2", and that's what they're looking at. And do I agree with it? No, but I probably would have never made the NHL because of my size.
It should be about the skill. It should not be about the size, but I get it. I absolutely get that.
And that's unfortunate for some of the guys that are smaller. They're more than capable of playing the game today and smarter than some of these bigger guys, but teams won't look at them, unfortunately. So go ahead.
No, I was just going to say some teams, certainly the height and the physical prowess, I guess, of goaltenders has increased. I absolutely see that. But I wish that the game, and even in other sports too, it doesn't matter the size. I look at, say, a forward, for example, Martin St. Louis, the coach of Montreal right now. I mean, he was tiny, but he was very good. You don't see a lot of these smaller guys these days do that. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. If somebody, if you see someone that you're speaking to or you're coaching or you're volunteering or something, and has any kid ever come up to you and said, hey, you know what, I think I can do it, but like I'm just not tall enough? And if so, what's the message that you send to them?
Yeah, this is like when I was coaching in Victoria with the Royals in the Western League, we had a goalie that set a lot of records in the Western League for saves and things like that. And so we had teams coming in, and Detroit was one of them, Toronto was another one. And they're like, oh, what do you think? What's his size? I said, he's my size. I can't take him back. I'm like, he's making all these saves. He's setting records. But since he's under 6'2", you can't take him back to your gym. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like, if you got a goalie that's going to make saves, who's going to give you a chance to win day in and day out, does it matter if he's 5'1" or 6'4"? Shouldn't. And but like I understand what they're thinking, but you see with a lot of stresses on the body with the bigger guys, they're injured a lot more than the smaller guys. And especially the way the position has changed, there's a lot more stress on goalies' hips and knees because of the down and ups and the east-west plays and, the reverse HV that I cannot stand that causes more goals than saves. But all this stress goes on onto this body, and it's a big body to try to stay healthy through. And it's too much stress on ligaments and joints and that for the bigger guys. And if you got a smaller guy that's Saros is great, like there's nothing wrong with him. He's making saves and he's in the game, and there's other guys too, but some of these guys that just get nope, we don't want him because he's not big enough. It doesn't check a box for us. It's frustrating for me, but at the same time, you're trying to tell these guys, well, NHL might not be your answer because of your size, but try. Let's go to the AHL. Let's work your way up. Prove your. If not, go to Europe. Great quality of life, great hockey, make some good money, and it's a lot easier on your body with the travel and everything else over there. And so if you get your degree and go play for a little bit, go have some fun and see what happens. And you sort of try to give a positive out of it, but at the same time, it's frustrating for these guys to see guys that are 3 or 4 inches taller than them that aren't as good. Still, they're getting the contracts where these guys are way better and not getting the contracts. Unfortunately, that's the way the game is.
That's tough. It is the way the game is, and plus, if you go to Europe, you'll play, and that's all these guys want to do at the end of it. They want to play and want to keep going as long as they can. The game today, again, you talked about the McDavids, and there's the Austin Matthews, and still Crosby doing what he's doing at his age, and Ovechkin still potting goals left, right, and center. The youth today, I'm talking about Matthew Schaefer, who's still not 19, and the Connor Bedards and the Macklin Celebrinis. It is just amazing to me to see where we're at as NHL fans. You have that little group, then you have the group with McDavid, mid-20s, whatever it is now, and then you have some of the elder statesmen. I don't think hockey's been in a better spot when it comes to talent.
No, I agree with you 100% there. Like, the talent is getting showcased a lot more than what it was during my era, during Wayne and Mario. Like, they were highlighted, but you didn't, with the clutching and grabbing in the game, you couldn't see their ability. Like, is Joe Sakic and Yzerman and Wayne and Mario Jagger, the guys in the past, Coffees, were they as good as these guys today? I would say so. Did they have the ability that these guys do? Yes, but they didn't have the time and space. They didn't, the ability for them to showcase it wasn't there. You were in awe with some of their plays they made, but if these guys, as soon as they touch a puck, you're in awe because they can build speed. They have time and space to build the speed, right? And is that because of them, or is that because of the game? That's up for debate. But but the what TV is doing for the game, for these guys, the social media, as much as it's bad, it is good for the game. Right? These guys are like, you got kids now watching what they're doing through social media. Now you see all these kids trying this stuff where, as when I was a kid, you didn't see guys try that because they'd have to sit on the bench. Now it's like, the Zegrases of the world, like, pulling stunts during shootouts, like, guys in our era wouldn't have done that because
he's pretty good at the shootout.
But guys, what he's doing, guys wouldn't do that because they're afraid to get sent down or afraid to be sat on the bench. Now these guys just do it. It's because that's how they've lived and grown up, and that's where the game is, and it's where the media is at, and growing the game. And I agree with you. I don't think the game's been in a better spot than it is today, with coverage, with the social media, and the players that's in it. Like, they're great ambassadors to the game, and it's the next level guys coming in. They're when we were younger, there was very few 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They're all 23, 24, 25.
Yeah.
You have to go pay your dues. You have to go, you know. Many we had the Brett Burns and Pierre-Marc Bouchards who stayed on our team, but they had limited amounts of ice time at the time and grow, learn, and understand. But now these guys are getting thrown right into the world like the Bedards. They go, you're playing 12, 15, 20 minutes a night. You go play, you know, and we live by your mistakes, and we'll teach you as on the fly, where guys had to go to the minors and do that first. Back in my era, in my days, and I'm not that far removed, but
right.
That's how the game has changed now. These guys are coming in, they're ready to go right away.
And Burns, he's still playing. He's still.
I love it. It's awesome.
That team, Dwayne, in Colorado. I mean, they just don't lose. It's unbelievable.
No. Yeah. It's crazy. It's you know, I'm still in touch with Freddie Anderson a lot, and I'm happy he's playing well and he's staying healthy this year. And,
that's big,
I love watching Burnsy play. It's just seeing him and thinking back to him and being an 18-year-old and all the silly things he used to do and say.
I'm sure he still does them, right?
Oh, I'm sure he does. And, but you know, it's awesome. You know, but that's part of the guys learning. Take care of your body. You can play as long as the game allows you to play, and the organizations allow you to play. If you're taking care of your body and doing things right, you know, time's not an animal. It's on your side.
And he's in a great spot with a really good team in Colorado. So good on him. Let's do 77 seconds with you. 7 questions. Again, no timer. So here we go. 4 Nations. I assume that you loved it like we all did. Should that replace the All-Star game?
Yes, I think it's a great change. I don't think you can do it every year, just because of the physical side of it. The All-Star game, I think it's a little boring. It's great to see the skill, and that's in my era. It was great to see the skill that the guys had that you couldn't see in a game. Now today, like, maybe it's totally different, not even an all-star game, just a skill session where guys can go show off their tricks and all that other good stuff.
I agree. Toughest shooter that you ever faced when you played?
I think Hasek, Yzerman and Sakic were the toughest shooters, just to see their release and find their release. The hardest was probably growing up with them was Rob Blake. You know, I hated practicing with him and hated seeing him against him. And obviously Al McGinnis, he had a cannon.
Always wondered too, you give those players like the McInneses and Blakes and whoever else had the great shots, you give them the sticks now, or those big heavy wooden sticks back then, just what they would do. 3-on-3, more 3-on-3, or after 5 minutes go to the shootout?
I say more 3-on-3. I love the 3-on-3. I like the look of it. It sort of showcases the skill level like we talked about, especially with the younger guys and their ability to play the game. You know, the shootout, to me, it's okay, but I hate deciding games on shootouts like, you know, Olympics and all that stuff. I hate the shootout. It's the luck of the draw. Like, it could be a fluky one goes in. I'd rather see a skill play or something like that in a 3-on-3 and a game.
I've said this all the time in hockey. You can outplay a team, outshoot them 45-10, yet it's 2-2, and then you go to the shootout, and then that team that you outshot ends up winning. It's not a one-on-one game. It's a team sport. Favorite city to play in, go to a game in to play in, outside of the teams that you played for? Favorite barn to visit? Favorite barn to visit?
I like going to the Old Joe.
Okay.
And Boston. I like going into Boston. I went to school in New England, so it was always nice. It was almost a mini homecoming. And Joe Louis, for some reason I love Joe Louis. I love playing there, and you know, playing in Hockeytown was one of those places that I like to go.
Worst building that you played in, if you can remember? Maybe the toughest fan base, perhaps, too, also maybe tie into that one.
Well, the toughest fan base, I think, was Boston was pretty bad.
Okay.
But that's part of the why I liked it.
Yeah.
Dallas was tough in there. Going in there, it was tough. I'd say Edmonton before I got traded there was always another tough building for me to play in.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I didn't like it there. But Dallas and Boston were probably the two rowdiest. Anything could happen at any time. And the worst building, I think, for me, was probably the old Boston Garden.
Okay.
And the Igloo were tough, tough buildings. It just, they needed an update, and then they got them, and rightfully
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
They were the two ugly ones for me.
Long time coming. Looking at the game as well today, outdoor games, is there enough? Would you like to see more?
I love the outdoor games. I was able to be a part of two of them.
Mm-hmm.
One as a coach in Anaheim, and the other one in Edmonton when we played in Winnipeg. So I really enjoyed it. I loved it as from the alumni side of it. I know they're trying to get away from the alumni being a part of it,
Right.
just because of cost.
Yeah.
But I think it's great, and I think it's time and a place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the league is doing a good job of trying to balance it, and and give Dan a lot of credit for making great ice. It's hard to do for them, and especially for the game is still worth something. So
Right.
you got to have good ice, but it's a great environment. It's a great aspect, and I still tune in when there's an outdoor game. I want to watch it. I want to see the facility that they're in, and it's a lot of fun. It sort of takes you back to your youth. And I think the best part was when it was snowing, the Pittsburgh game, and
Yeah.
those are the best ones because
Yeah.
of the elements. I wouldn't have wanted to play in the Edmonton one when it was minus 40 out,
No.
but that was the first one they did, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
The guys love playing in it, and I love watching it.
Doesn't matter how much adrenaline you have pumping, you still can't get warm in minus 40.
Yeah.
All those bad. Well, there's no chance.
Exactly. Exactly.
Last one. When you were playing during the off season, what was your go-to, your favorite activity to do in the off season between years?
Yeah, in the off season, just hanging out with family.
Yeah.
Just with the kids, they're young, they're playing soccer. I played soccer growing up, and my wife's a pretty good golfer. If I don't play well, she beats me. So
Okay.
as a family, we did a lot of golf, and then run the kids around to their sporting events, and just doing family time, and then trying to get on the water as much as we can. We live in Port Dover in the summertime, so
Beautiful.
we're on the water a lot. So we get out in the boat and do a lot of water sports stuff. So that for me, that was it. Get out and try and get back family time that you missed during the year, because it's thankfully I have a very independent wife, and during the season, if our wives aren't, or spouses aren't independent, it's very taxing. And
Sure.
with her being independent, I was able to focus on the game and focus on me. And then summertime, that's when I try to get back and try to spend all my time with my family and as much as I can.
That's a big win. Dwayne, you made some stops in your career. You made one stop today for me, so I do appreciate that, and I would love to have you back on. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it, and let me know anytime.
This has been Pucks in 7, available on the SiriusXM app and wherever you get your podcasts.